Before we begin today's episode, I want to take a moment to honor Melanie. Some people come into your life for a long time, and some only stay for a short while. I knew Melanie for about an hour through this conversation after being introduced by a mutual friend, but she left a lasting impression on me. I was excited to talk to her because we had so much in common: love of animals and burnout that eventually led us to creativity and art. Melanie was an absolute joy to speak with. She had incredible positivity. She was brave in the face of life's changes, deeply grateful for the experiences that she had, and so excited about this new chapter of her life in being an artist. During our conversation, she described creativity in a way that immediately resonated with me. She said drawing had become the last thing she thought about when she fell asleep and the first thing she thought about when she woke up. And I understood exactly what she meant. I've often said the same thing about watercolor, almost word for word. You could hear her heart through this episode, in the way that she spoke about caring for her parents, loving her son and dog, connecting emotionally to every animal she drew, and boldly sharing her faith and gratitude for life. Even though she'd only been creating art for a short while, she approached it with wonder, curiosity, and genuine joy. Today I learned that Melanie unexpectedly passed away. Listening back to this conversation now feels different. There's a tenderness to it, a reminder to slow down, to create, to tell stories, to love deeply, and to follow the things that spark joy within us. Even though I only knew Melanie for a brief moment, I truly believe that some people leave fingerprints on your heart almost instantly, and she was one of those people. And I know she's left so many more fingerprints on the hearts of others around her. I hope you're creating beyond your wildest imaginations in heaven, Melanie. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
And that's what I love about art, and specifically drawing the pets and the wildlife, is it connects us back to something. And that connected me back to my mom. And I just think that's amazing.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors. Melanie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me.
I'm excited to dive in and talk to you because I feel like we've got a lot in common with the art and animals. So what drew you back into art after such a long and meaningful career in healthcare?
I was not into art. That, I think, is the most ironic thing about it. I was having a really difficult time with some work issues and was seeing a therapist to help me figure it out. And she suggested coloring to help with some of the stress. And I found that boring. And it quickly turned into, oh, but I like this part, and next thing I know, I have a business in doing art. It is not something I grew up wanting to do. I always loved it. But really, just in the past 8 months, that's all I've been drawing for.
Wow. Okay. So I guess I assumed, just thinking that you went and you had a career and then you got back into it. So how long have you been working at your skill?
About 8 months. It has not even
Just
quite
eight
been a
months.
year, just 8 months. So I'm a self-taught. I'm retired now. I left the job that was very challenging, and I am just loving art. And just completely engrossed in learning and different techniques and different mediums and what is my style. And it did come very rapidly for me, and it came very naturally to me. And so I absolutely love it. And I don't see myself doing much of anything else now.
That's incredible. You've got quite an eye and quite a talent, and
Thank
you had to
you.
be open to the suggestion from your therapist.
Yeah.
Now, where do you think you would be today if you weren't open to that suggestion and you didn't even try?
I don't know, because I for the last 3 years was a trainer in scrapbook, and I did digital art, and I did making digital content like scrapbook pages and elements and different things people could use, and I would train them how to tell their stories and how to put that into scrapbooks, and dream job. And so when I retired from healthcare, I was doing that, and I was starting to do art. And so I would say probably digital scrapbooking. I always thought I'd open a store and sell assets in digital scrapbooking. And I just, The universe works in mysterious ways, and God just opened this path, and I am absolutely loving art. And I think I found my true creative calling because I wake up, can't wait to start drawing. Go to bed, think about what am I going to draw tomorrow. I don't think I've ever done that in any of my careers or any of my other jobs. You know what I mean? Where it's just my happy place.
Yeah, I just got chills because I feel the same way about watercolor. I go to
Yeah.
bed thinking about it and I wake up thinking about it.
Yeah.
And so I found out about you from my friend who does digital scrapbooking. So that must be how it's
Ah,
all
that's probably
connected.
how. Yes.
Absolutely. So, Jenny, if you're listening, hi, Jenny.
Hi, Jenny. That's got to be where it's through because I was a trainer for a company that does the digital scrapbooking. Dream job. I never expected to leave it. And for circumstances that I just didn't see coming, I needed to step away. And I'm a creative person. I have always been a creative person.
So in scrapbooking, that process in and of itself, it tells a story through
Yeah.
visual elements. Do you feel that has helped you with your portraits that you do?
Absolutely. And I feel I'm different than most artists in that my goal is also to tell the story of the animals I'm drawing. I like to know who they are. I like to know, or why am I personally drawing some? So that my early work was for myself or family members. So to me, I'm a storyteller and I draw it. So I like to incorporate both of those pieces, which is again, all my pieces, art is all those pieces together. So mine is not just the drawing. I want to know the animal. I want to, when I'm drawing them, I'm looking into their eyes. I feel very connected to them.
It's my favorite part is
Yeah.
doing the eye and making the eye come to life. I feel like it's
Mhm.
not complete until you've added those little shadows, the little
Yep.
glimmer.
Yep.
Absolutely. So when you're taking it on a commission, I was going to talk more about your work, but since we're already kind of talking about pet portraits, you're taking a commission, you're learning about this person's
Mhm.
animal, their best friend. What are some things that you listen for as you're gathering information for your piece?
I listen to the emotional connections, the special moments. Of course, everyone say my dog is 7 years old and or here's the story, but I really look for what is the connection that animal brings to your life. And one of my favorites is a peacock that I made because it's actually not anybody's pet. It's a wild animal that stumbled into a friend's property and we all started following it 'cause she laid eggs on the property, right? And so there's this whole story. And then I was like, what am I going to draw next? I'm like, I've got to draw the peacock, right? That's the stuff I want. I don't want to just know that, oh, we have wild peacocks that roam our land, right? Or my dog, I got him at the pound and we do this. It's the emotional connection, the love, the unspoken parts. So I like to hear the stories that create that emotion, less about the stats, the breed, the year, how old are they, when did you get them, those types of things.
It feels like it's something that comes very naturally to you, or at least that's how it comes across on your Facebook page that you're telling the story of the animal. Because I've had pieces before where it is so special to me. I have one of a sea turtle underwater.
Uh-huh.
It's coming up for a breath, and I was with my son, and we were looking for sea turtles all weekend. We finally got to on our last snorkel dive, and it was such a special moment. It's my favorite piece, and I'm like, why doesn't this resonate with other people? Well, I'm not telling the story behind it. I think
Yeah.
maybe if I did that, it would give it a little bit more life, but that comes very naturally to you. Why do you think that is?
Because I've always been a storyteller, a scrapbooker. I'm big on recording our memories. I'm big on taking our stories and making sure the next generation knows them. So, genealogy, my family has a very unique background. So, I feel like I'm a storyteller first. And I was doing that through scrapbooking for so long. And now I feel like I'm doing it through my art. So, I feel like I'm first a storyteller and now secondarily I'm an artist. And what I like is to create pieces for people that when they walk by it and see it, it brings the memories and the stories back. I just don't want them to think that's my dog Tom. I want them to walk by and think about the love Tom brought and the stories and the memories. So I feel like the two tie together, but most artists we're just drawing. We have a commission, we're going to draw, we give that to the person and it means something to them. Everyone I draw, I get emotionally invested in. It means something to me. And even if no one ever hires me, they can read stories about animals. And then my goal is we all just continue to, if I could have 1,000 animals, I'd have 1,000 animals. I'd
Yeah,
have them
same.
all. Yeah.
Why do you think animals hold such a deep emotional place in our lives?
I feel it's that unconditional love. It sounds so cheesy. It just sounds that's what everybody says, but it really is unconditional love. And it really is a non-judgmental ever environment, right? When we love and care for our animals, we're their everything, right? We're there their whole life. They're in ours for such a small moment in time, unfortunately. But I can wake up and just look at Sawyer and my day's better. And I feel just it's as simple as that. It's unconditional love.
Mhm. It really is. We have a little chihuahua too, and sometimes she gets underfoot and you accidentally,
Yeah.
you might bump into her and she yelps, and then obviously you feel bad and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then the instant forgiveness, and then they love you right back
Yeah.
instantly. Like, I just, we don't deserve dogs.
No, it's so many times I think, oh, I wish I could be that unconditional with my son when he frustrates me, or the things in our lives as humans, and we stir on it or we get, and they just, it rolls off their back and they're on to the next lick and the next hug. And at some of my lowest times, even though Sawyer is my son's service dog, he knows it. And he will come and he will do some of the same things he does for my son with me. And I just think they know us instinctively and they know what we need. And just without wanting anything in return, they're right there for us.
Yeah, my husky wants food in return and treats, but
Sawyer
yeah,
wants some of that too. He's a good boy.
yeah, just watching him on the screen,
Yep,
sleeping back there
yep,
is making my day
yep.
too.
This
They
little
just are
guy
the
right
great.
there. He's
Yes.
such a good boy. He's the best.
The dogs really are special.
Yeah.
What do you have a favorite piece that you've worked on so far in the story behind? I know you mentioned the peacock, and that's a really interesting story. Do you
Yeah.
have, I saw one, there was a blog. Now I'm like feeding you.
Yeah.
Leading
Yeah.
question.
They're all so different and unique. I think the one I enjoyed the most recently is one I did of a dog named Sophie, who was my college roommate's dog. So obviously, we were college roommates a trillion years ago, a long, long time ago. And Sophie passed away unexpectedly. She was older, but they weren't expecting it at the time that it happened. And when I saw on Facebook, I was like, oh, and I wanted to do a portrait for her. I named Sophie. So she had this contest of who to name her puppy. And so I submitted 5,000 names so that I could win because she was giving a basket of her homemade goodies. And I'm like, I'm winning those. She makes the best stuff. And I just remember, and Sophie was a working dog. She hunts for her dad. And for Michelle, she would eat up the remote controls. She was distracted, so they called her Sophinator. So our little Terminator, I just felt very close to her, but when I was drawing her, I could feel her. The first thing I did was put the eyes in, right? And it's like she's looking right back at you. I think emotionally, I was most connected to that piece because of my long history with my friend, wanting to do something to make her feel better, right? Honoring the dog that was in their life for the time that they were. And it's at the framers now, so I can't wait to deliver it to her. So she
Oh,
doesn't
wow.
have it in her hand yet, but I think that's probably the one most emotionally favorite, but they all are for different reasons.
Yeah, each one has its own, well,
Yeah.
story and
Hmm.
life to it. I've noticed there have been a couple times where I'm just mindlessly scrolling on Facebook. I'm like, wait a second, I recognize that face. And it was like a commission I've done before or
Yep,
something like
yep,
that.
yep.
Do you think that in doing your artwork that you are starting to see and process the world differently?
I think what it is, what I'm noticing for myself is I'm slowing down. I'm seeing the world differently because I'm not running around. And a lot of my stresses are still the same. So as an example, I had a tremendously long career in healthcare, which is very stressful. COVID, I did infection prevention and other things. Like I've lived a life full of stress. I adopted my son. I'm a single parent. My son has some special needs. Raising him wasn't easy. He's 22 now. Great, wonderful kid of mine. I take care of two elderly parents. My dad's in memory care. So I have a lot of stresses. But what I've noticed is since really incorporating art into my life, I feel like it centers me it, when things are feeling rough, I can just get lost in it. And I can think about who I'm making it for and what I'm doing. And I think it just slows our life down a little bit. And I love that about art. I love it. And then you look up and you realize it's 6 hours later. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, whoops, I got to go cook dinner now. I got to go do whatever. But I don't know. It's a very peaceful, even if I'm not doing professional art, I think everybody could find joy in doing some level of art or something very creative and what it does for us to center us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm still blown away that you're self-taught in 8 months. What was that process like for you? What did you start off with, and what were some of your inspirations?
Sure. Yeah, it seems crazy. Like I said, first it was a therapy thing with coloring books. So, of course, you go on Amazon, you buy all the coloring books, you buy the markers, you buy, and I was just like, this just felt childish. I felt like I was a little kid with my coloring books again. Now, I have wonderful memories of that, but I was like, this isn't really doing anything for me. I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. I don't know how, but the algorithm here's what we say, right? And so art started, like artists and coloring started to show up on my feeds and such. And then I was like, oh, people offer classes. Maybe I'll try drawing. Maybe that would be more therapeutic for me. And it was an instant love. And so I started trying different things from different mediums, watercolors. I'm very attracted to watercolor, but I find that's not what I like to draw. I visually love watercolor. So I tried dabbled in watercolor, wasn't really great at that. And then it went into pastels and then it went into colored pencils and then you start to find your groove. So I would look for people that I liked their style and I liked their teaching method. And I literally would just sit and start studying every day. Okay, here's how you make an eye. Here's how you make this, right? And because I'm retired, I have the time to do that. And it's weird how quickly it came. Because I would show people and they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. And I'm like, it looks silly next to everybody else. You know what I mean? I don't know. And I thought, you know what? Everyone seems to think I do pretty good. So why not?
Yeah,
Jump in the deep end.
absolutely. I, so, at what point were you like, all right, I'm gonna put myself out there? Because it's one thing to put yourself out there and show people around you that you know, and
Yeah.
then now you're putting yourself out there on social media.
Yeah.
At what point did you do that?
It's real new. It's very new for me. So I just launched officially, and then, okay, here in California, you have to get a permit to color in your house. I'm like,
Oh my, I saw that post and I was like, I was feeling for you because I'm like, there's so much craziness that you have to do to be an artist.
I know. I'm like, I have to go get a permit to color. Of course, it's not coloring, but so I really just thought I retired younger than I thought that I would. I feel like it's a just a new chapter. And I'm like, so why not? If nobody buys my art, nobody buys my art. I'll continue to make art. I'll continue to tell stories. I don't put any pressure on myself. And I think sometimes the greatest dreams that we have is just doing it and not the fear of failure, not the fear of judgment. He thinks my art's on this side. He thinks my art's good. This little guy down here. You know what I mean? I don't know. So I jumped in. I'm like, I guess I need permits. I guess I need this. I guess I need a website. And if they build it, they will come. And it has happened. So I'm blown away, but I'm loving every minute of it.
That's fantastic. I think that was part of your bad day where you're talking about permit
Yes.
and forms, and you
Yep.
had, I call it a God moment. I forget what
Yeah.
you called it do you mind talking about that story?
There's so much in that story. Oh, yes, I remember. So originally, let's back up a second. I was going to do digital scrapbooking, right? And it was called All My Pieces, but it was going to be digital scrapbooking. It comes from a song called Defender. Rita Springer, I believe, is the one who sings it. And it talks about how God can take all of our broken pieces and put us back together again. And through all the challenges I've had with raising my son and now taking care of elderly, there's just something about that has always resonated. It's like my very favorite song. So in scrapbooking, I always wanted to design kits where they had all the pieces they need to make an amazing scrapbook. So when my life took a detour and I realized I'm not going to be doing the graphic design and now I'm going into drawing, it was the same thing. All my pieces, art. I'll just call it. I have all the pieces from the canvas to the story to the pencils. So it was about bringing all those pieces together to create something magical. So I'm stuck in permits. I'm like furious that I got to go chase down documents. And then I get there and they're like, but you didn't file your fictitious name. And then you got to go, right? And so I was just feeling frustrated. And I literally, with my right hand, I was sitting right here. I went to grab the permits to get in my car to take them around, and the song Defender came on my playlist. Of hundreds of probably 1,000 songs, right? I just play my music during the day. I love to draw to music. And literally, I grabbed it and that song started. And I thought, if that isn't a sign that this is the right thing, whether it's successful or not, or come on. So, yes, that's my God moment is just, it was unreal how I touched the paper and that song came on my phone.
See, and I don't know, there are people in my life, they're like, God doesn't talk to me. But you gotta be attuned to it and
If you're
look for
attuned to
signs
it,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah. I love
yeah,
that story. It gives me chills every time I hear it.
I know. It's right here. I'm looking right at the spot that paper was. I'm like, yeah, because you do, you second, at least I do, second guess. I mean, do I really need to be doing this at 59? Do I really need to, why not just take walks every day and have a slow life? And am I making the right choices? Am I, those natural human sort of second guessing ourselves happens. And
Mhm.
if you listen, he'll tell you.
That's right. And some of those requirements are so ridiculous. I am moving, so I'm changing my LLC from one state to another, and I put my name in for an LLC. It's the LLC form, and they send it back, and they're like, it has to have your name with LLC after it. I'm like, but that's what I don't
I
get why
know.
it's got to be so
I know.
complicated.
I I hear you. I was floored by how much of that hoops you have to go through, but I don't know. It was my moment of knowing this is the right move for now.
All you can do is the next
Yeah.
right thing.
Yeah.
That's great. So do you just take commissions online? Do you go
Mhm.
to shows? What are you?
I really just do commissions online. And of course, the family discount commission line is long. And so I'm never short for work. And I can't say that I'm looking to build a huge business. I want to build the right business. I want to do a few a week, not looking to have 2 years worth of commissions in the queue. So I have not chosen to go around to do any gallery or arts, but I might. The time might come when I want to do that. But for now, it's been very much word of mouth, very much people seeing the art and then contacting me and wanting to do something with it. And the connection to story connects to other people too. Who doesn't want to
Mhm.
tell the story of their animal, whatever that animal is?
Yeah. And how long does it take you to do a piece? I've seen a couple posts where you're doing the daily
Mhm.
progression. How long
Yeah.
about, and what size are you working in?
It depends obviously on what the person wants or what I want to do. I really like 11 by 14 size because I do like to get enough detail in there that I'm looking, especially in eyes, right? So if it's too small, I don't enjoy it as much because I feel like I'm not capturing the essence of the animal. So I like it. The smallest I usually will do is 8 by 10. I really 11 by 14 is probably my favorite size. It's not too big yet. You can get a lot of that detail in there, but it depends on what someone wants. I have some people who want something huge, and that's okay. But I don't do small. I don't do the little art. I want to be able to look in those eyes.
Yes, I had a vet. She commissioned me for all of her staff for Christmas. And that was
Oh,
an amazing experience. But my husband, he would bring me food and just slowly back away because it was 2 weeks before Christmas. And I'm like, feverish
right.
painting everything. And some of these vet techs, you got to imagine they have 6 pets. So I do 9 by 12 paper. So they were
Hmm.
getting smaller and smaller the more pets
Ah,
they wanted in. But yeah, I agree.
yeah.
the
It
bigger the better for those
the
details.
I know. And right now, part of the struggle that I have is I am a new artist. And so I know it takes me longer than probably somebody else who has been doing it for years and years and years. So my pieces take me about 20 hours. I think for a lot of other folks, it's probably less time, but I enjoy it so much. I'm not certain I want to speed it up necessarily. I like
Hmm.
spending, and it's usually in a week. I try to do at least one a week, if not two.
Okay, very good. Yeah, I find that if I'm doing a commission for somebody's pet, it takes me a really long time because
How
I
long?
want to get all those details
Yeah.
in. For the watercolor and drawing it all out, it probably about 8 to 15 hours.
Yeah.
And some of that's mental and getting over that imposter or imposter in why am I not
Imposter syndrome.
wording?
Yeah.
Thank you. Getting over that imposter syndrome. And then it depends on how big it is. But if I'm doing just a wildlife animal, I'm like, it doesn't
Uh-huh.
matter what detail or a spot here or there, you can just go a lot quicker. And then
Yeah.
that usually takes me probably about 5 hours.
Yeah. See, so it takes me a lot longer. I'm a lot slower. I am still second guessing choices, right? So I'll really try out colors and color mixing probably more than a typical artist who has more experience under their belt. So my
I,
goal is to do more, but not take 20 hours. But I love the 20 hours I get to spend with that animal. So it's
yeah.
catch 22.
Yeah. I like that you were showing your process and picking the colors and
Yeah.
matching and stuff like
Uh,
that. A lot of people don't see that kind of behind the scenes.
and I know it's so funny. I talk to artists and they have their lingo, right? I don't have that lingo. I'm not book trained. I'm not school trained in art, but I love picking colors and I love mixing colors. And I think part of that goes back to my graphic design, and
Mm,
some of that. So I feel like there is transferable skills that came from my graphic design world and that excites me in the art. But I really like the what is it, tactical, the touching, the so much more than just sitting at my computer and designing things.
yeah. I run into that problem a lot if I'm working at my computer a lot all day. I'm like, I feel like I really didn't get much done. But if I have a portrait that I completed, I'm like, oh, okay,
I
I
know.
can see the hours in that.
Yep, yep. I love it. How
Um,
long have you been doing art?
I started going to school for art and actually for graphic design,
Mm-hmm.
and I like doing my own thing. I had a very difficult time taking, oh, you're making a menu and it has to be this font. And if I'm not into all the elements that are into it, I'm like, meh. And I didn't
Yeah.
get into it. So I leaned more into sciences and
Mm-hmm.
I worked at an aquarium for a little while. And then when I left there, I fell back into art during 2020 as my like some people bake bread. I was rehabbing
Yeah.
squirrels and painting. And yeah, that really helped me because I had a lot of burnout coming out of my
Yeah.
job. And the art and the slowing down, like you said,
Mhm.
really helped me to heal myself through that process. So that's what
Yeah.
I love sharing art so much is I know all the amazing benefits of it.
Yeah. I think the slowing down has been the biggest blessing for me. And you can't rush art. I could certainly rush and it will look like a kid did something, but it forces you to slow down. And I love that part of the process.
Yeah, that's you can't compare.
Nope.
And especially with work, I know you mentioned I wanted to discuss your work a little bit because you said you had a very long, successful
Mhm.
career in the
Yeah.
healthcare industry. And did you feel like that maybe, oh, it's too late to start this, to start art?
It happened so fast in the sense of my love for it. You know what I mean? As soon as I realized it's not coloring books, and no disrespect for those that love to color in coloring books at all. No, I guess I always laugh because I say I grew up in Vegas. I'm just a certain kind of person. I'm not afraid to gamble, I'm not afraid to try something new. I think for me, there's a piece of me that worried if I retire young, will I have interests? Will I have? And so having a passion that if you told me a year ago I would have opened an art business, there's no way. I wouldn't believe it. But whatever it is, if you just chase your dream, what does it matter? Right? So I don't know. It wasn't hard. It wasn't a hard decision. It's an unexpected decision. It's a crazy decision. It's all right. It's what
It's
life's for.
exciting.
It's what
Yeah.
life's for. Do
Yeah.
something. It's my dad is vascular dementia. He's in memory care, and he wanted a piece of one of my pieces to put up in his apartment. And I never knew you could draw. And I'm like, me either. And I think maybe from his perspective, he was thinking, I don't remember you drawing. I'm like, no, Dad, I never drew. You're not forgetting. This is not something you're forgetting. It's new. And my uncle his younger brother did art. And I remember as a kid watching my uncle Alex draw, and I was so fascinated by it. And it was like, he's my favorite uncle. And I'm just watching the work that he did. And maybe those little pieces just sparked something that didn't awaken until I was older. I don't know, but couldn't be
A
more
new
thrilled. Having
skill
the time of
unlocked.
my life.
That's great. I think a lot of people listening will resonate with that, and maybe it'll spark a new curiosity to try something
Yeah.
new and know that your life doesn't have to end after retirement. You still have amazing adventures ahead of
No.
you.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm one that I've always said dream big and just try. What does it hurt to try? Doesn't hurt
You either
anything.
learn you don't like it or you learn that
Yeah,
you have a
do
natural
something else
talent.
then. Yeah, change plans. But yeah,
Yeah,
I'm having the time of my life and I never could have saw this path a year ago.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Do you miss working in healthcare at all?
Not a single ounce of me whatsoever. Zero. I was not a direct healthcare worker. I worked in risk management, patient safety my whole career. And when COVID hit, I think I went almost 5 months without taking a day off. And I'm talking 12, 14-hour days, right? Because we're dealing with how to safely take care of patients and just the whole COVID world. So that burnt me out and then ended up in a really toxic thing that just, and I think another sort of being a Christian and a God thing, I think it took some bad circumstances for me to quit because I was so career oriented. I don't think if things were just fine, I would have left. And it is the best decision I ever made. And I'm so much happier. And so, no, I don't miss it a single bit. I'm proud of it. I think I was good at my job. I love the people I met over the years. I loved working with doctors, but I feel like that's almost a different lifetime ago. And I
Mhm.
retired last May.
Wow.
So yeah, it's coming up on a year.
Very similar. Yeah, if I didn't have certain things going on, I would have never left. And
Yeah.
leaving was the best decision. And it also led me to art.
Yeah.
So,
That's
what were
crazy.
what were some signs of burnout for you? And did you recognize it in the time? Did you think, oh, maybe this is just the season and I need to keep pushing through? Or did you not realize that you were going through burnout until you retired?
I think when you don't wake up, when I don't know, let me rephrase this. When on Sunday nights you're dreading that the next day is Monday, we should be listening to that, whatever that means
Mhm.
to somebody, right? And I was getting to the point where I was just angry on Sundays. Like I could feel I wasn't myself. And it took me a while to figure out it's because I don't want to go to work on Monday. And there were a lot of reasons for that. Really bad work situation and toxic and being a female executive in a male executive world for so many years also took its toll. And when you're not loving what you're doing, it will come through in every aspect of your life, right? Am I being the best mom when I'm grumpy and miserable and hating work, right? Am I being the best daughter? Am I being the best friend? all of that was suffering. But there's also that we all think we're going to work till we're 65, we're going to work until whatever the age is. And I think God had to make the situation bad enough that I'd be willing to walk away. And it was hard and it was scary. And now I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't I do it sooner? Why did I stay in that environment? Why did I? Oh my gosh, this is the silliest thing. It's silly, but everything happens at the time it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
I was trying
we've
to,
got a dreamer back here. Sorry.
I saw his little paws moving in the background.
Yeah. Look at his little
Oh,
face. I
look at
always
that
say
thing.
he's chasing squirrels in his sleep. He's living
Oh
his
my
best life
gosh.
too.
It's great.
Sorry
So
if you
cute.
heard him sort of having a
Oh,
little fit back there.
oh, now we hear a stretch.
Yeah, big stretch. He's, Mom, come on.
I was trying to think. I was trying to lead you to the horse story because I know there's a
Yeah.
blog that you came out with
Yeah.
the horse. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. The horse actually came out of a class I took. So
Oh,
I was taking a class online. It's the first horse I've ever drawn. And when I was first learning, okay, what can I draw for you, my son? Which was the baby Sawyer picture. And then my mom, when I was a kid, always drew horse heads. And if we went to a restaurant, I'd be like, Mom, draw me a horse head. Mom, draw me a horse, right? That was her thing. And she made beautiful, just the head part, just the upper, I don't know what the right terminology is. And she was a beautiful horses she would draw. And I would love to watch her draw them. So I saw this class on this horse, and I don't know, I wasn't connected to just a horse, but this one had the flames and the just, I don't know, more of a fantasy type of piece. And so I wanted to make that for my mom. And so that's a piece I made for my mom. And then I was blogging about how, again, while I was drawing the piece, thinking about my mom when I was a little girl. And did she dream to be an artist? I don't know. I've never asked her that. Maybe that's a good question to ask her and learn something new about her. But it brought such warmth thinking about those memories of her drawing the horse heads for me. So I feel like every piece has that story behind it. And that's what I like to share. Every piece, there's a reason I'm doing it. It's not just to make another commission or just to make another piece. There is some connection to that, even if it's a stranger that I'm doing it for. Yes, that's my mom's horse.
oh, and that you already answered the next question. I was going to ask how art reconnects us to parts of ourselves that we may have forgotten. And that horse
Hmm.
story told it beautifully. It brought you
Yeah.
back to your childhood. It
Yeah.
connected you to your mom through
Yeah.
that
I haven't
process.
thought about her drawing a horse in 55 years. You know what I mean? But as soon as I started drawing those memories of her and asking her, draw me a horse head, I'm sure as a mom, you think she's probably got 5,000 things to do. The last thing she probably wants to do is sit down, draw me another horse head. You know what I mean? Like when you're a mom, okay, let me draw the 5,000th horse head for you. But yeah, and that's what I love about art and specifically drawing the pets and the wildlife is it connects us back to something. And that connected me back to my mom. And I just think that's amazing. It brought back a memory that was somewhere way back there, not even on the tip of my tongue. And then it brings such a wonderful, fun feeling from when I was a kid and watching her draw.
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I've gotten into nature journaling in
Hmm.
2020 because I'm just out in nature doing art, whatever. And a couple years later, I look back at it was just like scribbles on a page. But I remember being at Red River Gorge at sunset, how it felt to sit on the sandstone and the
Yeah.
beautiful colors in the sunset and this little lizard that was going by. And my mom has late stage dementia. So whatever I can do to try and reactivate memories and remember
Right.
things is something that I'm just very on the lookout for.
Yeah.
Um,
Isn't it amazing how things like that, even like the art, I surround my dad in his place. He's got a lot of, because I do, for my photography and scrapbooking and stuff, and have so many different wall art and things digitally, excuse me, to evoke those memories for as long as we can. It's sad to watch them fade.
yeah,
It's a hard disease. So I feel for you. It's hard.
it is really hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
But gosh,
That's
how do
a
I say it now?
downer.
I know, I'm so sorry. But and that's great that you can. I'm always cautious to bring it up on the show because my mom used to listen to it a lot more. This show,
Yeah.
I don't think she does as much anymore. That's why I felt kind of comfortable bringing it up. But that you're even connecting with your dad through the art that he wanted
Mhm.
in his apartment. And I think they remember that feeling of, oh, to draw something for someone, like you said, it takes 20 hours. That's 20 hours
Right.
of your life that you're giving to someone that's displayed on a page. And that's a great way to
Yeah.
connect with
And
someone.
what's really interesting is the piece that I did for my dad was in a class I did with pastels. Again, while I was those earlier pieces when I was learning. And it's a snow tiger. And I remember just being attracted to the colors, and I thought I haven't done a tiger, nothing spectacular. And so when I had a few pieces, I asked my dad, which one do you want here? And he picked that one. I didn't have a story about it. I don't have a connection to a snow tiger. It's one of the most important pieces now to me because when he passes, that's coming to my house. And it's always going to be my dad, right? The story came from a piece of art that didn't have a story, that has a
Mm,
really strong story to me now. That piece is never going away. That piece will be with me forever because now that's a piece of my dad. Normally, I know the story before I draw it. This was something I drew and now it has a story. And that's the things I love to connect. And I can't wait to, not that I want my dad to pass away, but I can't wait to have that piece in my home someday because it will always remind me of my dad.
yeah,
And the snow tiger means nothing, right? But the art means everything to me now.
yeah. Have you thought about doing a TED talk on storytelling and art?
It's funny because when I started in the digital scrapbooking, that's sort of some of the early trainings I did were in storytelling and the importance of it and documenting it. And one thing grew to another. So if Jenny's connected into that community, she'll be laughing because she knows I'm a storyteller at heart.
Very good. Now, do you have any projects on the horizon?
Besides getting all my permits, what I'm finding, no big projects. My personally heading to Switzerland in the fall with my son to make more memories. And then I don't know, doing landscapes and flowers. I don't know. I don't I keep thinking I should draw something from Swiss. But I don't. I love animals and wildlife. I really have learned now I don't book myself out and I don't put pressure on myself. So I don't keep a planner anymore. I don't keep a schedule. I get up when I want to get up. I go to bed when I want to go to bed. And I just try not to put pressures of projects and expectations out there. I'm living, maybe that's an artist's life. Maybe I just don't know that. Maybe all artists live that way. But it's a very different life than I used to live. So I'm loving it. So no, I just want to take care of my parents, make memories with my son, and do what I love, which is storytelling and drawing animals.
Fantastic. And where can people find you?
I all my pieces art, it's website, allmypiecesart.com. All my pieces art on Instagram. So any of those, I haven't jumped into the TikTok world yet. Maybe I will. I don't know. But yeah, you kind of have to look for me because I don't know, I don't go out and search for a lot of business. I believe the business that comes to me for a reason and it will come. So those are the three places.
Cool. And I'll be sure to tag that in the description so people can hop over and check
Thank
out your
you.
amazing work.
Thank
And
you.
before we go, thank you. Before we go, what is one tip that you have for someone that would like to reconnect with nature?
Turn your phone off first and foremost. And I would say what's really important to me is when I find that when I travel with my son, we like to go international, but we do a lot of other stuff. We're outside all the time, but in our day-to-day life, we're not outside. And so I want just a recent practice that I started is I take breaks in the morning and breaks in the afternoon, and whatever I do, it's going to need to be outside. So whether that's I walk down to the little park over here, or I walk up to Starbucks, or I walk me is just get outside because it's so easy to stay in the house, especially when you love drawing. I'm like, I could sit here
Mhm.
but no, take a break and just get outside.
Fantastic advice. Melanie, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thanks for inviting me. It's been so fun chatting with you.
Absolutely. And until next time, get outside and see what develops. Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.